So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for another FIFA 19 cheat engine experiment video on career mode. Today, we are going to be testing what happens when every player is like the man who was on the news section just there, and they are a goalkeeper. And I mean, we can already see it taking effect. There's Fabinho in a goalkeeper's kit for no reason. We have gone through every single side in the Premier League and we have made them all goalkeepers. Absolutely everybody is now a goalkeeper. So as you can see from the squad, it doesn't look any different at all. Mo Salah still 88 rated, Firmino and Mane 86 rated, same for Van Dijk. But if we go on the squad hub, there's a very big difference. I mean, this is already sorted based on position, but there we go. Alisson, 85 rated. Trent Alexander-Arnold though, he's got his usual rating, but he's now a goalkeeper. Dejan Lovren as well there, 81 rated. Virgil van Dijk wearing his goalie gloves. Andrew Robertson's a goalie as well now. Now this is all well and good and it all just looks kind of aesthetic, obviously. All we've literally done is basically make them wear goalkeeping kits, and that's phenomenal. But it also goes a bit deeper than that. If you go across to the attributes, you'll see that actually, although they've kept their overalls, which I'll get onto in a second, their attributes are actually a lot, like, lower. Simon Mignolet's even had some of his decreased. Basically what I've done is copy and paste the same attributes for a certain goalkeeper on this game, and then put them onto every single outfielder in the Premier League. So they've all kept their original goalkeeping stats, which are over here for Xherdan Shaqiri, not very high. 13 goalkeeping, 12 handling, 12 kicking, 11 positioning, and 11 reflexes. But on top of that, to remove the effect, basically, of being an outfield player, I've also decreased all of their physical stats to be as good as a goalkeeper. That's the same for the mental stats and also the outfield technical stats too. I hope that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is the actual overall you see there means absolutely nothing. Sim games also on this game don't work purely based on that number there for the overall. They work based upon the attributes of the player. If I go on to the edit player section here on the right hand side, you'll see all of their sort of natural overalls, if you like. So this is how good Gini Wijnaldum actually is. He's 17 rated. Matt Virtue is 16. Virgil van Dijk is 17. Daniel Sturridge is 17. These are the overalls that the simulation system will take into account. And you can see the goalkeepers, the likes of Simon Mignolet, have stayed the same, or roughly anyway. And also just on top of that, we actually don't have any outfield players in the team. You know, will we actually have to forfeit games when we go into a new fixture on the sim system? Will we have to sim games via the calendar? Everybody's a goalkeeper. We've got 45 players and they are all goalkeepers. No attackers, no defenders, and no midfielders, technically speaking. And then just to confirm, in terms of the actual rest of the league, if we search for goalkeepers in the Premier League, you'll see plenty of players here who are not usually goalkeepers, the likes of Sergio Aguero, Toby Alderweireld, Marcos Alonso, Dele Alli, Daniel Amati, Ethan Ampadu, etc, etc. Again, they have kept their overalls, but you can see based on the value just how good they actually are. So Aubameyang might be 88 rated according to the game, but he's actually $15,000 in worth. He's got a goalkeeping attribute of 9, so he's not going to be very good. So we are now going to sim an entire season with absolutely every player in the Premier League being a goalkeeper. We are then going to jump into a second season and see how well they do in comparison to the championship clubs that get promoted. I also really want to see, like, the actual stats as well, like top scorers and stuff. Like, who actually scores the goals? Will anything change? You never know. The sim system might not really get what we're doing and might still make Mo Salah our top goal scorer just because he's 88 rated. What we'll do first of all, though, is we'll sim to the halfway stage of the season, so just after Boxing Day, and then we're going to get going. We'll see what life is looking like at the halfway stage of the season. I'll take you through the table and all that jazz. Simming a decent period of time has actually changed the overalls now, so the game has actually recognized that this is how good these players are. So for instance, Trent Alexander-Arnold is now 20, Lovren is 17, etc, etc. So the players not only have actually got their overall that they should technically have, but also some of them are grown. Trent Alexander-Arnold was definitely not 20 rated, but that's because I've left all the potentials the same. Anyway, you lot don't really care about that. I mean, I'll take you to the squad hub real quick. You can see here, for some reason it hasn't affected the players out on loan yet. I don't know what's going on there, but you can see for the players that aren't on loan, the overalls have now changed and are more according. Also, for some reason, it hasn't affected James Milner yet. I couldn't tell you why that's the case, but it just hasn't. He makes his own rules. Anyway, you lot want to see the table, so here it is. It's a car crash. Spurs currently leading the way, 8 points clear, would you believe, with a team of goalkeepers. Burnley in second, Manchester United and Bournemouth rounding out the top 4, ahead of Arsenal, Huddersfield, Chelsea and Wolves. So that's one way you can definitely tell this is completely random. We've got such teams like Huddersfield and Burnley in the top 6, because they don't usually do that well in Sims. Then it's Newcastle, Brighton and Liverpool down in 13th, Southampton 14th, then Fulham, Manchester City all the way down in P16, then Leicester, Watford, Cardiff and Crystal Palace. Also, the scores looking very boring. There's been barely any games. I mean, we've got one game there on the 10th of November that's had more than 2 goals in it. Everything else is looking like a shambles so far. I don't know why Tottenham are doing so well. You can see they beat Cardiff 4-0 there. I'll show you Tottenham's team. There's nothing going on here. Here you go. Here is Spurs' team, and they're all goalkeepers. So I don't know whether it's big. Hugo Lloris isn't even the best goalie in the league. So the end of the season has arrived. It's time to take a look at how the team has done. So as you can see, I have no idea how Spurs have done this, but they have won the league and slapped everybody silly. 90 points, 2 losses. They've got the same team pretty much as everybody else. They haven't even got the best goalkeeper in the league. I do not have a clue why they have won the league by such a distance, but they have, and you've all got to deal with it. Burnley were second on 68 points, Wolves in third, and Bournemouth up in P4. Cardiff City just miss out on Champions League football. Fulham there in 6th, then Everton, Manchester United and Manchester City, Brighton in P10, Huddersfield, Newcastle, Arsenal and us, Liverpool, Watford, Southampton and Leicester, Chelsea, West Ham and Crystal Palace all relegated. So strictly a London affair in the relegation zone, but Chelsea getting relegated is in fact a shambles. And you can see as well, those are the goals scored so low. Everton, for example, scored 24 goals and conceded 25 in a 38 game season. There was probably at least 12 games in their season that ended 0-0, and that is an absolute travesty. So yeah, clearly the fact that, it makes sense really, nobody's got any competent players up front, they're all goalkeepers, aren't they? So I'm not really surprised, in fairness. So your top scorer in the league was Llorente from Tottenham. Interesting, very interesting. He scored 19 goals across the season. Howarth from Burnley, I don't know who that is, also scored 19. Then we've got Obiero and Mason on 12 and 11, and they are the only players that got into double figures all season. None of the other players in the league. John Ruddy scored 7 goals for Wolves. He's an actual goalkeeper. So stats-wise, you can see we've got a goal for Alisson, which means he didn't even play in goal. Obviously, it's impossible to tell who actually played in goal, but that to me means that Alisson didn't actually play in goal. Our best goalkeeper didn't even play in goal. Our top scorer was Kamil Grabara with 6. Then Simon Mignolet, the actual goalkeepers, none of them played in goal. Llorente wins the Golden Boot, which is exactly why he's pictured in a goalkeeper kit. Actually, yes, this is brilliant. I want to see the team of the competition. The team of the competition was, okay, there wasn't even a striker. The EPL genuinely got to the bottom and were like, nah, buddy, I actually don't even care. I don't care. So we're now going to jump into a second season. We're going to see what happens here in year number 2. I can only imagine it's going to be carnage again. No real surprise that in season 2 the championship clubs came up and absolutely destroyed everybody. Derby County, having been freshly promoted from the second tier of English football, score 90 points and win the Premier League the next season. Everton finished second ahead of the other 2 promoted championship clubs in Aston Villa and Sheffield Wednesday. City 5th, then Fulham, Wolves, Watford, Bournemouth and Brighton. So a very mental top 10, which you'd pretty much only expect City and maybe Everton to be in. Southampton, Newcastle, Burnley and Spurs, then Leicester, Cardiff, Arsenal and... Of course, absolutely of course. Where is the shock? It wouldn't even be a FIFA 19 cheat engine video if Manchester United didn't get relegated in it at some point. Along with the inevitable Manchester United relegation, Huddersfield and ourselves in Liverpool also go down. The FA Cup was won by Hull City against Sheffield United in the final. No real surprise, none of the Premier League teams are going to be any good. The Carabao Cup was won by Leeds United on penalties over Sheffield Wednesday. The Champions League was won by Real Madrid, but as suppose the more incredible thing is obviously that none of the English teams probably made it out of the group stages. Wolves getting beaten by Inter and Slavia Prague. Burnley finished bottom of a group along with Ajax, Standard Liège and Lokomotiv Moscow. Group E saw Bournemouth accumulate 1 point against Valencia, Lyon and Napoli. And then finally Spurs, who won the league, accumulated literally no points in a group against Dortmund, Barcelona and CSKA Moscow. Finally, for those wondering what happened to the teams relegated down into the Championship last season, none of them finished in the top 8. It was Nottingham Forest and Bristol City, interestingly promoted into the Premier League. Middlesbrough, Stoke, Norwich and Swansea having to settle for the playoffs, and 2 of the 3 teams relegated from the Premier League were actually relegated again. Crystal Palace and West Ham will be going down into League One, Palace accumulating just 10 points. West Ham also relegated. The only team to escape that fate were Chelsea, who finished just above the relegation places. But that is going to wrap up today's cheat engine experiment on what would happen if the whole Premier League became goalkeepers. But if you've enjoyed this video, slap a like on it and subscribe if you are new to the channel. We're still trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. You can also follow me on social media these days too. My Twitter and Insta are at @theofficialfng. Links are down below, and whilst you're down there, make sure to give me some other suggestions for cheat engine videos you want to see. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.